So earlier today, there was a vote scheduled in the House where basically we would vote to see whether or not we're going to continue supporting Saudi Arabia in their war against Yemen. Now, that vote, unfortunately, it didn't happen. House Republicans earlier today officially blocked lawmakers from forcing a vote on all resolutions for the remainder of the year. Now, these resolutions, of course, uh, only are targeted at laws that would attempt to use the War Powers Act to cut off support for Saudi Arabia in Yemen. So now the move came during a floor vote debate on the Farm Bill. Farm Bill has nothing to do with the war in Saudi Arabia, and Republicans, Paul Ryan, they didn't care. Like, no, let's just put that in, completely unrelated to the Farm Bill, but we're going to put it in anyway. Now, the rule passed on a largely party line vote of 206 to 203. Now, 5 Democrats voted with the Republicans. A lot of them are, of course, centrist, pro-war Democrats, but there are actually a lot of abstentions. One of them including Keith Ellison and Raul Grijalva. Now, Rahul Grijalva is a Justice Democrat, so why would he abstain from the vote? Why would Keith Ellison abstain from the vote? So that's an interesting question, right? I don't necessarily know. The reporting isn't clear whether or not they abstained because they agreed with the war in Yemen or didn't want to take a vote, or if they just weren't present in the Senate chambers. They were actually, or I'm sorry, in the House chambers, and they were gone. And look, that is a possibility. I'm going to kind of reserve my judgment, hold my judgment on Grijalva and Ellison on that one before I criticize him, because I don't want to criticize him wrongly because Paul Ryan and the Republicans, look, Republicans are masters at scheduling votes at times where people are gone to make sure that they push through their agenda, which is pro-war. So let's be fair on that before we kind of rush to judgment. Nonetheless, this is a very disturbing vote, disastrous vote, I think, because, look, right now what this means is that basically Republican lawmakers have blocked these resolutions for the end of the year. Now, that means, of course, the next Congress, the 116th Congress, can pick this up. And that's, of course, when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the 40 Democrats that won their House elections will take their seats. So there's a good possibility then that if you were to bring this up again, it would actually pass the chambers, which is a fantastic thing. So we can actually end our support of Saudi Arabia bombing Yemen, which right now is facing a massive famine that is killing children, right? So now that's the other thing about this vote, though. The 116th Congress doesn't take their seats until later on, till next year. So how many people are going to end up dying in between now and then? That's why the Yemen vote could not wait. But unfortunately, again, you have pro-war Democrats, mostly pro-war Republicans that are in favor of continuing to sell weapons to Saudi Arabia. This is despite Saudi Arabia basically admitting that we murdered a Washington Post journalist. We dismembered him with a bone saw and this is not just long after recordings of Khashoggi's last words were released as well, which paint a picture of somebody getting tortured and brutally executed. So if that's not enough to stop this, to stop our support of Saudi Arabia, if the war's not enough, then nothing is going to be enough. And it's true, you have these Republicans and some of these Democrats putting the profit of our defense contractors above human lives. And so that, again, it's a disastrous vote here. Now, Representative Ro Khanna, who was the one who reintroduced his War Powers resolution, said that this move to strip privilege from all Yemen war power resolutions was, quote, unprecedented. Now, Khanna, of course, deeply progressive, and he's hoping that if this passes the Senate, then this could pressure House Speaker Paul Ryan into allowing a vote. Nonetheless, still, I don't know if that's going to happen. But to be fair, there are some Republicans, for example, Thomas Massey, that was trying to get Republican support for this legislation in order to strip, war powers, to use their war powers resolution to stop this insanity going on in Yemen. Unfortunately, as I just said, we didn't really get any support for that yet. But look, as much as it sucks, there is a chance to do this again in the next Congress. But as I said before, that is going to come with a cost. And so everybody who voted against this to continue funding and supporting Saudi Arabia, they do have blood on their hands. And so let's never forget how these Republicans and these Democrats voted in favor of continuing to bomb innocent people, children, etc. Hey guys, hopefully you enjoyed that free video. Now I'm going to have to ask you a favor. Between the demonetization and the YouTube algorithm messing around with view counts, etc., we're having a hard time adjusting to the new YouTube reality, which is where you guys come in. See, we have a patreon.com/TYTNation set up to help us rely on you guys, the viewers, instead of big corporate ads. Look, you know the show. You know I'm not in favor of big corporations anyway. So help us transition away from relying on the ad model to pay the bills and sign up to be a patron, patreon.com/TYTNation. That goes a long way to help us keep the lights on. And you guys will know that you're supporting independent, progressive media.